everyone, Will here from Mature Minded Gamers, and today we're going to be showing you the card game Brawlhalla, the card game. Now this is a game that is based on a IP from Ubisoft. This is from Maestro Media and FLYOS. Now this is not the first Ubisoft board game, but seems like they're bringing a lot of the IPs into the tabletop space. And I'm pretty excited about it, to be honest with you. And, you know, when I heard that Brawlhalla was going to be made into a board game / card game, I was actually pretty intrigued. I enjoy the game quite a bit, the video game wise. And, you know, I'll be honest with you, spoiler, I'm actually quite digging the card game. But that's in another video, so be sure to check that one out. But so what we're going to be doing today is I'm going to be showing you basically how to play a little bit, how to set up. So to first set up the game, you're going to be choosing one of the legends. Now there are 6 that come with the game. That I got the demo copy here from Ubisoft. So you know, thank you for them for help sponsoring this video. So I want to kind of show you which champions that I got a hold of here, and kind of show you some of the components here. But you get Mordex, you get Nyx, you get Orion, and Yumiko. You also get Bodvar and Hattori. Now these cards here are foil. These look pretty sharp. I think these are going to be a Kickstarter exclusive type thing. Some art on the back and everything, but these really shine on the table. They're definitely pretty cool. Now, if you notice here on the champions, like this one says TBD, so the special abilities that are on these legends aren't fully fleshed out. But Nyx, for example, after successfully defense, draw a card. Orion, during light combat, if Orion is on an airspace, his defense cards get +1. And then Yumiko is also TBD. Now, Bodvar and Hattori gets an additional move value, and then Bodvar gets, during light combat, if Bodvar is the attacker, place his first card face down and reveal it on his next turn. Now, a lot of that, I'm sure, means absolutely nothing to you yet. So let's dive in. Let me show you how to play this game. So first off, what you're going to do is you're going to choose a champion, okay? Now, after you've chosen your champion, you're going to take the corresponding deck of cards. Now, there are 20 cards in each of the decks. Now, each of them are semi-unique, meaning you get a certain set of numbers, which I'll explain what all those mean. But a lot of them have unique abilities. Now, these are per the character. So this deck of cards for Hattori has some special abilities that make her unique in her playstyle, which is really cool, being that there's 6 champions that you get, or 6 legends that you get in the game. Each of the heroes plays and feels unique while having the same mechanics on how to play. So after you've chosen your champion, you've got your deck selected, you're going to take the corresponding weapon card. Now these are double-sided. Now each of them offers some unique abilities as well. So not only do you have the unique ability on the champion or the legend, but you also have the unique ability on the weapon. The other thing you're going to do is you're going to take the damage, almost like the health, the number of lives that you have. Now, there are 3 of these. Now, in this like 1v1 that we're setting up, we're going to be doing 2. I'll kind of show you what that means as far as like how many times you could be KO'd before you're out of the game. You're going to then also take your damage token with one side of yellow and then one side of red. Again, we're going to explain what that really means in the game here in a minute. We also have the standees. Now, these also do come with the little things that go in the bottom here that help them stand up, which, you know, fit in real well and do what they need to do. But for the sake of this video, it's going to be really hard for you to see what I'm doing and move around the characters if they're like this. So I'm going to be just taking these out for the purposes of this video. You're going to set up your board with these cards that lay out your like your grid, your arena, if you will. Now, before we get too much further, let me go ahead and explain how this arena works once you've kind of set up. You've got your platform spaces and you have your air spaces, okay? So the platform spaces are key as you cannot move through them. We'll get to more about movement here in a little bit. You can't move through those. And there is actual spaces that is around the board here. Now these are called the offstage spaces. So there's actually a space here, space here, space here, space here, you know, all the way around. And then there is an imaginary line beyond that called the KO line. Now, to get eliminated, you have to be moved past the KO line. So you're also going to take these weapon markers, okay? And you are going to be placing them in the bottom right corner for this particular map. Now you can set up this map however you want. And then you're going to be taking your corresponding legends and you're going to be putting them in the top right corner. After the setup is done, you guys are good with the map. You're going to be drawing 4 cards. After you shuffle, draw 4 cards from the top of your deck for each of you. And you're ready to begin. Now, not much to this setup. You know, if anything, the thing that took the longest really was finding the right cards that I wanted to use for this map. You know, because I want it to be a cohesive picture. And you know what? They do a really good job. I think it looks pretty sharp as far as like an imagery. It actually functions really well and gives you a lot of variability on the map that you want to have. You know, when I first set this up, I was like, man, it's kind of a small playing area, but you know, as you're playing the game, it really feels large, but at the same time, it definitely feels like positioning does matter. So let's go ahead and get into how the game works. So on your turn, you're going to have 3 different actions that you can do. Okay, now you can do the same action twice, or you can do 2 of the 3 actions. So one of the first actions that you can do from your handy dandy player aid here is you can move, you can fight, or you can delay. Okay, so what do you want to do first? Well, obviously you're up in the air, you need to get close to the other person, but man, you also need your weapon, because to be able to use your different attacks and everything, if you're going to use your weapon, you've got to have your weapon card, right? Your weapon ability. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to use the special abilities that are on the card, whether they be for light or heavy. So, something to note, just because you have a weapon with the weapon token, you know, it doesn't mean you have to use any of the abilities that are actually available to you. So those are always optional. So you pick a side that you want to start with, and you go from there. So to get started, what I'm going to do, I'm going to start as Hattori, and I've got to decide, man, what do I want to do first? So my hand limit is 6. I have 4 cards in my hand to move. Let's say we're going to move first. We're going to pick one of our 4 cards. We're going to use the big yellow number that's in the top left corner for our move distance. So Hattori adds 1 to the value of each card she uses to move. Fantastic. So this becomes a 2, this is a 3, this is a 6, this is a 3. Well, if I am this many spaces away, 1, 2, 3, I really only need a 3 to get close, or I actually only need a 2 to get close to Bodvar. So the other thing I'm thinking about is, you know what, I'd like to pick up my weapon, but if I want to pick up my weapon, do I want to go for this space or do I want to go for this space? Well, you know, I'm not really sure, you know, what high value cards that Bodvar has in his hand. And maybe it'd be a good idea if I run over here and grab this weapon and prevent Bodvar from, you know, making easy access to a weapon, if you will. So let's think about this. So when you move, you cannot move through a platform space, okay? Now you can move diagonal or you can move orthogonal, meaning that you can move left, you can move right, up, down, diagonal, right? But if I was here, I could not move here. I'd have to go around, okay? Makes sense? Also, you cannot advance more than 3 spaces open air without touching the ground, okay? So it's kind of like your leap. So if I'm here, the first action I probably want to do is if I want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, because I stopped here for ground. 1, 2, 3, it's 3 spaces away and I'd end on the ground. Well, so 1, 2, 3, 4, I don't have a 3 card in my hand, so, you know, it looks like, unfortunately, I'm going to have to burn this big old 5 and discard that and be able to move 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? So I have moved, okay? Now, you've got to think as far as like my other cards that I've got in my hand, because the next action I can take is fight. Now, I have landed on this space. I've ended my movement here. I'm going to take my weapon token and put it on my player aid. Well, you know what? I want to be able to attack. Well, I'm too far away. So if I look at the weapon cards for the katana, if Hattori wins the combat, a cloud of smoke makes her disappear and reappear one space away. Okay, we'll talk about, and that says after light combat. We'll talk about light combat in just a moment. And this one's before combat. Hattori can attack an opponent up to 2 spaces away. Well, let's think about that. So if I move 5 spaces, I had actually a 6 move. I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, pick up my weapon, 5. You know what? And I could even attack right here, because if I chose this when I pick up my weapon, which side I want it to be, I'm going to choose the Yari. So again, Hattori can attack an opponent up 2 spaces away. Fantastic. Well, how do I want to attack? Well, fantastic. Let's get into that point, which is fight. So if you are within range, choose either a light or a heavy attack. Okay, so let's go over what light combat is. So light combat is the attacker is going to choose 1 card. Now that 1 card can be any of the options I've got here. Let's go ahead and start off with a little bit of light combat with a 1. Okay, so as the defender, it's the defender's turn to play a card. Now they can play 1, they can play 2, they can play 3. Their goal is to meet or beat the light attack value here. So I'm going to look at my cards as Bodvar, and I'm going to pick, man, which card do I want to play? Well, I don't have any 1s. That would be the optimal thing to play, because, again, I just need to meet. Well, I don't have 1, so I'm going to play a 2. Okay, great. So now, as the attacker, nobody has passed, I can add 1 or more cards to my attack chain here for the light. Okay, so let's see here. Let's go ahead and add a 2. So now we're at 3 to a 2. The attacker is winning. As Bodvar, I'm going to think, man, you know, I really need to defend this. I want to exceed the 4, but I don't want to burn some of my high cards, because that's going to really ensure that I can maybe land some good solid hits later. I'm going to go ahead and play this card. So I've got now a 2 and a 2, with some unique abilities in the bottom, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. But I've got a total of 4 to 3. So then I go back to Hattori, and I'm thinking, man, do I want to play this card? He's got 2 cards left. What are the options here? What can I do? Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and add this. I've got 5 to 2. I am winning the light combat. I really want to try to land a solid blow here to Bodvar and see if I can get some damage early on. Okay, so add Bodvar. I'm thinking, you know what? He has no more cards in his hand. That's the end of his light combat. So you know what? But he has no cards left, meaning I could probably land a pretty solid hit. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and pass. Now, once a player passes, then the combat ends immediately. Okay? So as the defender, I've got a 4. As the attacker, I've got a 5. Okay, so the attacker wins. What does that mean? So there's nothing that else happens except for, at this stage, then I'm going to take a damage token, and I'm going to put this yellow marker, which is 1 damage and 2 damage. I'm going to put the 1 damage side up for the yellow on my player card. Okay, so Bodvar has 1 damage on him. Then we go to the effects of the cards. Now, this is the only card as the attacker that I have that actually has anything on it. And it says, after light combat, if you win the combat as the attacker, gain 1 action. Uh-oh, that may spell doom, absolute doom for Bodvar. Okay, so I have another action that I can take after this. Well, is there anything that will trigger off of Bodvar's defenses? After heavy combat, draw a card for each knockback inflicted on the opponent. Well, I'm not the attacker. This unfortunately doesn't, this doesn't bode well for me. After light combat, if you win the combat, move the opponent up to 2 spaces, not off the stage. I didn't win. Well, man, maybe I should have played a larger card. So, well, what that's really going to mean is these cards end, because there's nothing that triggers. And this card triggered, which gives me an extra action. But as Hattori, I have no cards left. Okay? So that we've talked about movement. We've talked about light combat. let's get into one of the other actions that you can take called delay. Now, what delay does is if you are in an airspace, you are going to fall down, directly down one space. Now, there's some stipulations if you can't be in the same space as another champion and things like that, that you may go to one side, but you're going to fall down one space. Then you're going to draw 2 cards. So as Hattori, I'm going to draw 2 cards. Ooh, I got a good card. Oh, I got a 5 and a 1. Okay. And this is a before move action. If you're not adjacent to an opponent, draw 2 cards. That's fantastic. And then a 5 and then a +2, which we'll talk about in just a minute. So I've done my 2 actions. I got my bonus action from again, that card there, the sweet action. My turn is over. So it is now Bodvar's turn. Okay, well, what do I want to do as Bodvar? Well, I only have 2 cards in my hand. I need to get over here and get this weapon. So should I 1, 2, 3, 4? I can use 4 to get over here. I could delay to even move down a space, get some more cards in my hand, and then still draw, and I'll be far enough away that I may not have to take another hit. I really need my weapon. Whew. Man, this is rough. What do I want to do? What do you guys think I should do? Do you think I should move? Do you think I should delay? Let's go ahead and I tell you what. Let's delay. Let's get some extra cards in my hand. So we're going to get a 2 with a runaway ability and a 4 with a power smash ability. Okay. So, oops, you know what I didn't do? I gotta fall first. All right, so I got my 5, 4, 2, and 4. I am 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces away. I'm going to go ahead and use this 4 that doesn't have any special effects on it to get 4 movement. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so I'm going to pick up my weapon. Fantastic. And that's my 2 actions. So now it goes on over to Hattori's turn, which again, I've got 2 cards. Well, darn, you know what? This doesn't really help me in the fact that I've got to close the gap here. Let's see. Well, I could use this 1, and I could go 1, 2. And why can I move 2? It's because her special ability lets me add 1 to the value of each card for the move. So let's do that. Let's go 1, 2 by playing this card here. And then her weapon, which I do have before combat, Hattori can attack an opponent up to 2 spaces away. I am 1, 2. Let's go ahead and do another light combat. Now, why do I want to do light versus heavy? You know what? Let's not. Let's do a heavy combat so you guys can see how that works. So a heavy combat. Heavy combat is I'm going to play a card. I don't get to play any more, just the 1. Now, why is that nice? Because again, as I was saying before, the whole point of the game is to move them past the KO line. To get them past the KO line, they do need to be on the red damage. However, if they have to move past the KO line and they cannot be moved, then they are going to take an additional damage. Okay? So maybe that heavy combat will push him away, but then hopefully I can get him pushed 1, 2 spaces. And you guys see here, this +2 here. He's going to be pushed 2 spaces plus the 1 because of the yellow. If this was on red, he'd be plus an additional space, so +2 and +2 for 4 spaces, really shoving people around the map. All right, so let's see. Does my opponent, and the only way to defend on against a heavy attack is they have to match the same yellow value. Ooh, I've got to do it. Because if that's a +2 and I know I've got a damage, I'm going to be pushed 3 spaces away. It means I'm going to go into red and I'm going to be in a weakened state. So I'm going to go ahead and play this card and block it. So blocked, nothing else happens, doesn't get shoved because there's no other special effects. There's no statuses, no abilities on this card. So these cards get discarded. Okay? So now we're going to go on to Bodvar's turn because I moved and I did a combat. All right, so Bodvar, we have 2 cards in my hand. Well, my cards, his heavy attack is blocked. Bodvar still inflicts a knockback of 1 space. Even though it's blocked, that's pretty good. The broadsword, Bodvar can discard one of his opponent's cards with a value of 1 or 2 in a light combat. That could be really helpful, and that's after the combat. Okay, that can change a loss into a victory real quickly, especially with a pass, right? Let's see. Oh, but what during his light combat, as the attacker, he plays his first card face down, so the opponent doesn't even know what's coming. This could be great. Okay, well, you know what we're going to do? We're going to go ahead and we're going to move. So we're going to go 2, but we don't need to move the full 2, but we could, right? So we're going to go 1. Okay. You know what we're going to do? Is we're going to go ahead and go 2 and be right above him doing a smash down attack. It's a smash, right? So we're going to be doing a move. So that move there happened for 2. We'll put that in the right discard pile. And then we're going to initiate a light combat. Okay. So light combat here, we just want to do a little bit of damage to him, and we're going to place this card face down. Now, Hattori normally would have cards in their hand. They could then place their card face up, and let's go ahead and pretend that Hattori did have a card in their hand and decided to defend with this 3. Okay, so then the next round of combat goes back to Bodvar. Decide, do I want to play another card? Well, you know what? I don't have any, but in my next turn, I reveal this, and I pass. Now, again, the moment a turn is passed, okay, combat ends. You figure out the values, a 4 and a 3. This 4 exceeds the 3. Bodvar 1 damage goes on Hattori. Okay, so now we look at the special abilities of the attacker. After heavy combat, if you win the combat as the attacker, inflict 1 additional knockback. Okay, well, combat, heavy combat, I didn't do a heavy combat, right? So I did a light. Okay. The defender, this one says after move. Well, this wasn't used as a move card, but if I had, I can pick 2 cards at random from my opponent's hand and look at them and discard 1 and return the other. Oh my gosh, getting rid of opponent's cards, that's awesome. So we did some damage, which is good, but now we move on to Hattori's turn. Oh my gosh. Well, again, Hattori, I have no cards in my hand as Hattori. So how do I get cards in my hand? Again, if you guys remember, delay. First thing I'm going to do, though, is I got to fall. Right, so I fall, but I'm still okay. I'm not moving into the KO line. Okay, I am here in the outer spaces. So I am going to then draw my 2 cards. Okay, I got a 2 and a 2. Well, you know what? I need to move. I need to get out of this dangerous space, because if I delay again, well, that's going to cause me a damage because I'm moving into the KO line, right? Which would put me in red, which means Bodvar's is going to be able to delay once and then heavy attack me. Well, that's not a wise move. So I'm going to go ahead and move. Were there any cards that give me, during move abilities? Not here. So let's go and just play this 2, and let's kind of try to get out of dangerous territory. Okay? And this is going to keep me a card in my hand to hopefully be able to use for some defense. All right. On to Bodvar. Uh-oh. Bodvar! You don't have any cards in your hand. What are you doing, man? So we got to delay again. So we're going to delay. We're going to fall down a space, and we're going to draw 2. But you know what is adjacent? Diagonal's adjacent in this game. So what's great about that is, I'm going to go ahead and do a light attack. Okay? So I am going to, my light attack, again, I'm going to place it face down. Hattori's going to think, man, I've got this 2. Don't know what that is. Is he going to pull the same shenanigans that he pulled earlier? Well, you know what? I got to try to defend this because I don't really want to take more damage. I'm going to go ahead and play that 2. Bodvar goes to his second round of combat. I can play a card if I want to, which I could play this other 3, but there's really no point because I'm already winning. I can pass. And what that's going to happen is now we're going to resolve the effects. We're going to take that damage. And then after combat, draw a card. If you win the combat, draw 2 cards. Oh my goodness. Loving that. Loving life here. And then we got this card is after combat. If you win the combat as the attacker, move up to 2 spaces. Man, she's all about moving around, which is she's fantastic. And you know what Bodvar's good at? Controlling the battlefield. And you'll see that here in just a second. So that was my my second action with Bodvar. But you know what I've got? I've got 3 cards now. I got potential to do more because, you know what, Hattori? You did the same thing. You ran out of cards. So we're going to have to do another delay. We're going to delay 1. We're going to draw 2. We got 1 more action. What are we going to do here? Well, Bodvar's on yellow. We're going to launch a light attack. So are we on the right one? Well, this one's Hattori can attack an opponent up to 2 spaces away. We don't really need that. But when I delayed, you know what I could have done? Or I could do at the end of my delay? I can choose which weapon side I want. Great. So after light combat, if Hattori wins the combat, a cloud of smoke makes her disappear and reappear one space away. So let's go ahead and, let's go ahead and do this Shadow Glance. So this one gives me an ability. After light combat, if you played another card with a value of 4 other than Shadow Glance, return it to your hand. Well, sadly say, I don't have another 4, I have a 1. But that's okay. Let's see what happens. Alright, so, oh my gosh, he laid a 4. I got this big 5, but oh my gosh, I'd really like to save it. He's doing a light attack. I'm going to take some damage, but that 4, I need to kind of keep myself safe, don't I? Probably. But you know what we're going to do? What's going to be crazy? So we're going to let it hit. We're just going to say, you know what? I'm going to pass. Well, again, because combat ends immediately. It says after light combat, if you played another card with a 4, nothing happened there. So that goes into the discard pile, and took another damage. This get me, both of us, close to death. Now, what this really means is, I mean, if I take more light attack damage, really nothing's going to happen except for on heavy attacks. I'm going to be moved an additional 2 spaces away when that happens. So heavy attacks where it's at this point of the game. All right, so Hattori, you've got one more option here. You did your delay. You got some cards in your hand. You attacked. You got 1 card. You're stuck. You got some options for maybe a block a heavy attack when it comes through from Bodvar, but we're going to find out. So Bodvar, beginning of your turn, we're going to decide. You know what? We're going to try to go for the coup de grace. We're going to go ahead and launch that heavy attack. Okay, so we're gonna do heavy attack here, and it's a 5. So the opponent to block a heavy attack again needs to play a 5. I don't have a 5. I can't block that. Oh no! Guess what happens? I get hit with a heavy attack. +2, +2, 4 spaces away. 1, 2, 3. I passed the KO line. Hattori, you're knocked out. You're out. Wait, you're not. You have 2 lives, if you remember. So this one gets flipped over here. You got 1 life left. And, what's this? Hattori, you get +1 to knockback damage or an action. Oh my goodness. So a comeback mechanic to make it where it's not just an overwhelmingly disaster of a game where you've got actually ways to come back from the brink of death and actually make something happen. It's fantastic. But that's the gist, guys. It's chaotic. It's fast. The game gets even crazier 2v2. Gets crazier with a 4-person brawl free-for-all. I love the fact that you can set up different maps. Set up any arrangement that you want. You don't want to make it too big, but could you? Sure. You can make it a much bigger map. And you can really get real intricate with these things as well. Just remember, you can't move through the platforms, okay? You can't move more than 3 spaces through the air without touching the ground. If there are cards that let disarm opponents, but again, Bodvar, he's so good at pushing people around with his abilities, inflicting additional knockback. Even on blocks, getting cards into your hands and knocking weapons out of people's hands as well. He's awesome. Hattori, she's great at moving around the battlefield, zipping around where she needs to go, getting that extra movement. She's never without movement ability, and it's chaotic, it's fast, it's fun, it's furious, it's Brawlhalla, the card game.